We've got a legend in country music, a living legend. His name is Vince Gill. He has been around for a while. He's won every award under the sun. He has made so many different songs. He's written, he's composed, and he's working with a new group right now, and he's bringing to the Ridgefield Playhouse on April 24th. He's on the phone with us. Vince, thank you so much for being on with us.
It's my pleasure. Looking forward to come seeing you guys here in a few days. How's it going?
Yeah, April 24th. And a lot of people may not know because the group is called the Time Jumpers, and it's featuring Kenny Sears and Ranger Doug Green, and, of course, the legendary Vince Gill, who is our special guest this morning. And so how'd this whole thing come about with this different group?
This band is so much fun. I've been playing with them for 5 or 6 years now, and we were a band of knuckleheads that love Western swing music. It's like big band music with Western influences like fiddles and accordions and steel guitars, and it is so much fun.
Is this right? You earned 20 Grammy Awards?
That's correct.
That's amazing. That's more than any other male country music artist. That's
so I'm told.
Yeah. Do you have a mantle? Do you have a place that you put all of them? And
yeah, I've got a little studio in my house where I work most of the time, and I keep them in there to remind me of all the blood and guts I've spilled out on the highway over the last 40 years.
Yeah. See, I'd be like, come on in, I want to show you something. Look at all my Grammy Awards. Look, check that out. I'd be like that.
Oh man, it is something. I worked hard and I'm proud of it, and I think what I admire most about it is the fact that they're for so many different things. They're for being a musician. Several of them have been instrumental awards. Several have been songwriting awards. One of the Grammys producing my wife's record, and so the fact that it's kind of all over the map of things that I do, that means the most.
Yeah, for those who may not know, I'm sure everybody does who's a big fan of Vince Gill, but he's married to Amy Grant. And,
yes, sir.
And I would touch her nose, Vince. I would.
Stop saying you'll touch people's noses.
Yeah, I see Vince is going to punch me out. You know?
I might touch yours. A little harder than you'd like.
Yeah.
There you go. There it is.
See, I'm in trouble already here.
Nah,
but
I'm peaceful, dude.
Yeah. This guy's done everything.
And
Vince
what
Gill.
It says this past February, you were inducted into the Guitar Center Rock Walk by Joe Walsh of the Eagles?
Yeah, by Joe. He's an old mate, an old friend, and guitar slinger. I've just loved being a musician my whole life, and I didn't really care what kind of music it was I was playing. I just liked it all. To
be able to do what you love and to make a living out of it, and that's just fantastic. Yeah, that's the amazing part. I've been able to eat.
Yeah, right. Yeah, I can eat
pretty good.
The important things in life.
Sure. We're talking with Vince Gill this morning. He's going to be at the Ridgefield Playhouse on April 24th, coming up with the Time Jumpers. And like a guy like Vince, now he's a guy. Do you have one of those Toto toilets?
Oh, here we
Vince,
go.
We were talking about that recently on the show. There's what's his name?
Tyler Hubbard.
From Florida Georgia Line went out and got himself one of those. It's a toilet that it lights up, it's heated, it's got music, it's got like a shower thing, like a bidet thing going on. You got one of those, Vince?
I'd have to say hell no.
You don't know what you're missing, Vince, you know?
I guess so.
Just imagine going in there, getting ready to sit down, one of your songs starts to play out of the toilet. You know?
I don't know if that's where I want my entertainment.
Yeah, right.
Hey, what do you think? And I ask all the country artists who've gone through that transition, who've transitioned really well from, the 80s, the 90s into today. What do you think of today's country?
Well, gosh, I don't know. It's I look at it kind of logically. Try to, and I'd like to hold up the entire history of country music. When people start spouting off, it's not as good as it used to be, and they're not as good as we used to be. I don't really like that. I'm not a hater.
Mm-hmm.
I'm all for these kids doing whatever they want to do, whatever they're led to do, and sometimes I think it's not my cup of tea, But I'm sure there was records I made that weren't George Jones's or Merle Haggard's cup of tea, and maybe there were some records they made that weren't Roy Acuff's cup of tea, and I just think if you look at it, with a head of logic, you just kind of, I don't worry too much about it. I think it just kind of is what it is, and it's supposed to change. My hits and my success, that was not my favorite period of country music. I prefer the 50s and the 60s.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, just everybody's got their own influences, yeah.
But I think that's...
absolutely.
I think it's a great way to look at it.
Well, I know two people who are eternally grateful that they're going to be on the same stage with this legend, Kenny Sears and Ranger Doug Green, with Vince Gill, the Time Jumpers, Ridgefield Playhouse, April 24th. Vince, thank you so much. It's so great to talk to you.
It is.
And best of luck with the shows, and the best of luck with you and Amy, too.
All right, thanks, guys. Appreciate your time.
And
Thank you.
Get yourself one of those Toto toilets.
Stop with the toilet.
Really.
Not going to happen. See you later.